All right, let's get it going. Guys, what if I could show you a way where you could actually pick up properties for pennies on the dollar on the front end, or if you chose to, you could pick them up on the back end and actually just get the cash that's sitting available in many accounts throughout the United States, and then take that money and connect it with a owner and receive a finder's fee. Well, that's what we're going to go over today in the Tax Lien Gold Mine Ultimate Step-by-Step Tax Lien and Tax Deed Investing. So let's just jump straight into this. We'll be going over how to get deals for $100 and selling them quickly for $5,000 to $10,000 in less than 30 days. This is something that really can't be done in other niches, not on a consistent basis. And what I love about the whole tax deed industry, this side of the game, it actually, there's a cutoff date. And after that cutoff date, there's nothing else going on. There's no attorney that can stop this. There's no workout packet. There's none of that stuff when you're dealing with tax deeds. The county wants their money, an owner hasn't paid, and they're going to take it, the property, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever that date is. There's no extending. The only way that can stop it is if the county gets payment. So that's what I love about this. So we're just going to go over strictly the facts. We're talking about, when I got into this game, the largest downturn in real estate history. And when you want to be successful in something like this, you need a system that doesn't allow you to take on debts, tenants, or maintenance. And you'll never lose when you buy for pennies and sell for thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. Most people who are inside of the real estate game, they pretty much got their shirts stolen or wiped out from them because they purchased and didn't make money when they bought. But never again will you do that. What you're going to learn today, you're going to learn how to buy land 75 to 95% below market value or free. Yes, or free. People will give you land that they do not want. That's why I'm really so giddy about this tax deed, tax lien investing part of real estate, which most people don't really talk about because they don't really understand it. Guys, there's virtually no competition. You can get free and clear properties with no mortgage. That's right, free and clear properties, no mortgage, and sell it in days for profit. We want to get those big, fat, juicy checks and do what I call the cha-ching dance. And we're going to be talking about buying land without having to borrow money from the bank, and then showing you how to pick the best areas to buy in today's market. Well, who the heck am I? Cecil Jones here. I go by CL Jones, and I'm a real estate investor, and land is one of my specialties. I think I'm really feeling land more than anything now because I know things that I didn't know in the past, and that makes all the difference in the world. I've been investing full time since 2006. I really started in 2000, late 2002, early 2003, but was able to walk away from my job in 2006. That's February 17th, 2006. I started out where you are. I retired from the rat race, and today I'm actively negotiating deals. I was the president of the Fairfield County Real Estate Investors Association, and I excuse the errors in this thing. My guys didn't see that, I guess, but I was a co-owner of a large catering company back in Connecticut, and I'm a U.S. veteran. Hoorah! Go Devil Dogs. Guys, basically everybody has a story. I made it out of high school. I bounced around from crappy jobs. I worked 80 to 100 hours a week after getting out of the military for a company, Swiss Bank, UBS, in Stamford, Connecticut. I realized there was no such thing as job security. I had no money saved by the time I was age 30, and I always wanted to start my own business. I just didn't have a system to follow. And plenty of you probably know exactly how that feels when someone's trying to tell you about all of these great opportunities out there, but you just don't have a system to follow. My friends didn't have any money saved either. That was the problem. And, I knew that I had that entrepreneurial spirit, but I just didn't recognize my purpose back at that time. A lot of you today are probably still saying, I don't know what I want to do. And shoot, I'm 40, 50, 60, and I don't know my purpose. But definitely when it comes to the financial side of your life, we're definitely going to show you how to change all of that. I sold everything from jeans to sunglasses. I was the guy that, grew up in, my dad was in New York, and I can still, in the Bronx, and I can still remember being a youngster out there and doing the whole, selling whatever he could sell out there. One pocketbooks. I can remember being, I don't know, 5 years old out there on Fordham Road, selling pocketbooks, one for three and two for five. So I've always had that hustler mentality inside of me, but I just needed to hone it and find a product that could really get me paid. Then I realized that I needed a plan, and if I was going to generate passive income, hmm, I realized that I had to help a boatload of people. This is how we get to the dreams, guys. This is how we accomplish our goals. We have to take the focus and the onus off of us and really think about other people's problems. We make money by solving other people's problems. So my goals was to make a boatload of money, and I wanted to take 30 days off all at once. I really wanted to be able to take a 1 month vacation. That was something I never dreamed of, and I've heard rich people talking about that, and I didn't have a silver spoon in my mouth. I knew that I wanted to make money and run a business on a system, and I didn't want to work the 70 hours plus, at a business. I didn't want to just have another job. So I knew I needed to create passive business income. Passive business income is income that comes in off of your efforts for one time. Think of rent. You buy an apartment building, those rents continue to come in over and over again. So imagine going on vacation and having more money in your account when you return than when you left. Isn't that a pretty good situation to be in? Well, investing with tax liens and going through with my coaching, you allow how to do that. Guys, some of the best advice I've ever got was to only listen to successful people. I can remember a time where I would ask broke people for financial advice and I would get the wrong answer all the time. Maybe somebody on this line tonight knows what I'm talking about. And that person a lot of times happens to be our spouse. So we'll have a great opportunity come by us and we'll go back and run it by our spouse who knows nothing about business, who's not an accountant, who's not a bookkeeper, he's not an attorney, whatever he is, and he tells us no. And we listen to that person. And that's kind of crazy to me. I never really understood that philosophy. But I know that if you want to make a boatload of money, that you have to pick a profitable niche and you have to get a mentor. Speaking of mentor, if somebody is interested in getting a mentor, you can go to www.ceciljonesmentoring.com, www.ceciljonesmentoring.com. Guys, at the end of the day, you got to set up a system, you got to put it in place, and you got to get out of the way of it. A lot of us, many times, are stuck and we're in our own way and we stop our own success. But what you want to do is you want to learn to put that business on autopilot and then basically just go take off with it. Vital statistics, guys. The difference between someone filing bankruptcy or not is normally about $200 to $500 a month. That's why the passive income is so important. That passive income gives you that financial freedom to make choices that can enhance your family's quality of life. Some people say money's not everything, and I didn't think money's everything, but money is what it's meant to be. It's meant to pay not only bills, but it's meant to put into investments. It's meant to get our kids a great education, great vacations, great Christmas presents, the best doctors. So money is important for what it's important for. At the end of the day, we all want to achieve financial freedom. Getting that financial freedom is understanding that we have to have passive income coming in that will replace our earned income. So as soon as you have passive income coming in from outside sources, which I'll teach you not only the real estate side, but other aspects of making passive business income as well. But we have to have that income that replaces the earned income, and now we're financially free. So in essence, the less money you make, the closer it is, the easier it is for you to get to financial freedom. What does financial freedom bring you? Well, it's brought me clarity, choices, passive business income. Those are things that are very important because when we are struggling and running around in the rat race, it's really hard to think and it's really hard to have clarity. How are you going to achieve this freedom? Well, you got to set smart goals, guys. You got to be prepared for the proper adjustments to your smart goals and keep them on track. Otherwise, your unadjusted goal just simply becomes a dream. And it's okay to dream, but we got to know how to take it to the next level and turn it into a goal and make sure that it's an actionable step that allows us to get to the finish line. What are SMART goals? SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And you should have all of those components together in your plan. So specific, when is this going to happen? Measurable, what am I measuring it against? What if this happens? What happens? Attainable. Well, it has to be something that we have a skill set for. We're trained in it. We're an expert. We're a leader in that field. Realistic, something that we can see being done, and it has to be timely or time dated. So we need to know when this has to be done by. Build your dream team. There's no investor who is an island unto himself. Guys, you have to have people on your team to make these things happen. A lot of us try, and I even try to do everything by myself, and it always just takes me back to a point of burnout. Who are your pocket investors? Any investor who trusts you to find them a good investment opportunity is willing to put their money in your hands for a guaranteed minimum return. What's the minimum return? Well, most investors are looking for 8% return on their money. Some will go 6%. You could find people who have a bank account, a savings account that's getting less than 1%, and you can offer to triple that for them and give them 3%. A lot of different ways to go, and that's more private money funding, and we'll talk about that later on if you choose to come along and be a part of what we have here. Structure in your business. This is something that's very important. We need to have a corporation, LLC, set up, and it's a business that basically is granted a charter recognizing it as a separate legal entity, having its own rights, privileges, and liabilities distinct from those of its members. That means, what does that all mean in a nutshell? It means that you're not liable for things that happen in the business. The business is its own structure, not connected to your tax ID number, actually has a employee ID number, which you can build credit through that. Also, and that's some of the things that we teach you also. Structure in the business. LLC basically structured so that the owners are not personally liable for debts or other business liabilities, such as damages, lawsuits, and they're all taxed similarly to partnerships, but they avoid the double taxation. More on that. I'm not an attorney. We're not really to go deep into that, but you can talk to an attorney, an accountant, whatever the case may be. If you're not doing nothing else when you start your business, prepare a plan. Guys, business plan is very important, not only to see where you're starting with, to see when you're asking for money from banks or private lenders, you got to have a plan. You can try to wing it, but when you're really ready to go to the next level, which eventually you will be, as long as you don't quit, you got to have that plan. They're basically going to define your goals, measure your successes, and details the actions that you'll take to succeed. Real estate investing is not all created equal. Guys, most niches require a credit score of 700 or better, especially in today's economy. After the whole fall, the banks are really, really picky about who they will loan out money to. And if it's not your primary residence, they're going to require for investment properties about 30% down payment. Now, you may find some that'll do a little bit less than you, but on average, that's basically what it is. Taking out a mortgage to fund your investment, I've never believed in it. I don't think you should take on huge mortgages when you don't have to. And this is why you're going to love what we're doing here. The real estate investing niche, it is very safe, low risk, and it does work in any market when you know what you're doing, when you know how to buy, because you make your money when you buy. Just real quickly, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but this basically just breaks down the differences between tax liens, rehabbing, wholesaling, lease with option, and subject to properties. I'm going to assume that people do know this, so I'm not going to delve deeply into it, but basically it's just showing you that the risk for tax liens, tax deeds is pretty much low to none. Time commitment to acquire, about an hour you can put in for a tax lien or less. You don't need any bank involvement. You don't need to have good credit. You can do this in a day, and it's guaranteed by the government and is not subject to any outside influences. And the potential profit potential on the lien side is about 50% return on your money. That's a whole lot better than any bank could ever give you. I want to talk about this land profit system here. Land is really something that most people don't really get into because they believe that land is an alligator and it just eats up your money with taxes. But those are from people who don't know any better. What if a world existed that didn't require banks, partners, big mortgages, co-signers, and credit checks? Right? And what if I could show you a system that allows you to buy land for hundreds, some free, and sell for thousands in less than 60 days? Would that make a difference in your life? It absolutely made a difference in my life, guys. How is this different? This system different? Well, owners give up on properties when you're talking about taxes. The owners don't want the properties anymore. The owners don't want to put another dime into the property. The owners just want to get rid of the property, and the owners are willing to walk away from it for nothing. I just actually picked up 4 timeshares for absolutely no money, and I've picked up land for no money, $500 down. And the thing is, they're not, God's not making any more of that. Real estate investing, why land? Well, it generates cash flow when you know what to do. Some people don't know what to do. There's a lower risk. You will know what to do. Minimum income, upkeep, and maintenance. It cannot be stolen or destroyed. No tenants, toilets, or termites. There's minimum competition, and it sells fast for a maximum profit. People are always looking to do something with land. It's owned free and clear. The average price range $5,000 to $30,000 when we're talking about residential. There's more land than houses out there. And there's a huge pool of buyers where you can go to places like eBay.com, bidforassets.com, A lot of other places out there as well. Landandfarm.com. You can't build houses without the land, guys, and God isn't making any more of it. So this is basically breaks down to supply and demand. You may ask yourself, why don't people invest in land? Well, they think it doesn't generate cash flow, which I said a minute. And that's error number one. Land is associated with the ultra wealthy. And error number two. And then people don't know how cheap they can get it for. And error number three. Investing in tax delinquent property, guys, you got traditional liens and auctions. And let's just talk about some of the advantages. There's a real low startup cost here. You can buy it for as little as $1,000 down with no experience. As you get better and you learn from my training, you'll learn how to even get it for less than that. You can do this from home, and it's real easy to outsource. We have places that people that will go out there and do all the paperwork for you and everything like that. Let's talk about some of the disadvantages. There's too much competition, thousands of investors, too difficult to obtain title insurance. You must file a quiet title. Quiet title is when you bring in an attorney to clear the title from any uh, heirs or other people that may have an interest in the property, and just make sure that you get the property so that you can have quiet enjoyment, so that you can get it without anybody else coming later on saying that they have an interest in that property. And it could be sold. It could be years before that property or that lien is sold off. Most properties are redeemed prior to the auction. So when you're doing your research on these, you got to make sure that before you go to an auction, that you would actually make sure that that property is still available, because all an owner has to do to stop that is go pay the back taxes. Liens allow you to make money, but not immediately. Now we're talking about the lien side, guys. This is a tax lien. Tax lien is not ownership. A tax deed is ownership. Well, the owners manage or sell or to redeem. That's basically how that goes on. Let's let you in on a secret here that very few people know about this system, and even less people are doing it. People talk, and you got to realize who you're around, if you're around a talker or you're around somebody that actually does it. But there are people like myself who are making a killing and have made killings in this business, regardless of what the economy is. And it goes on every day, regardless if you decide to join us or not. Okay? One thing that I've learned going along the way is that smart investors don't wait. Smart people don't wait. If you're the type of person that can't make a decision, maybe this isn't for you. Business isn't for you. Entrepreneurship is not for you. Maybe you need somebody to tell you when to take a break, when to take vacation, and when you're going to get paid. California, guys, has a 5-year redemption period before the property goes to a tax sale. That means if the owner stops paying the taxes in 2009, they wouldn't have went to the sale in 2015. As a member, you'll actually know which properties, which states are the best states to go after. Then you got to go compete with other investors. That's if you're doing it the traditional way. But what if the savvy investor could find the property owners 1 to 2 months after it becomes delinquent or before they stop paying the property taxes? Do you think you could see how that can change the game? If you can actually find the owners and not just sit there like everybody else. Well, here's my blueprint to firing your boss. Uh, it's your passive business income model, and it's going to help you leave your job. Here's an example real quick. You have a property value, and this is land, at $15,000, and it's realistic to think that you can buy that piece for $1,000 from someone who doesn't want it. Someone who's already saying that the county can take this. It's yours, Mr. County. It's yours, Uncle Sam. And then we come and give them $1,000. So we sell it for 6,000, and then we make a profit of 5,000 on that piece of property. Now you take that 5,000 and you buy 5 more properties at that same $1,000 a piece. You sell each of those lots for $6,000. You just made $30,000, and you just simply repeat the process over and over until your income meets your expenses for a year. Creating wealth, creating financial freedom is really not hard when you have a system, and this is an example of having a system and knowing what to do, what to target, what to go after. Then you have to make a life decision. Right, so that's tax liens. Let's just go a little bit here with tax liens 101. What is a tax lien in case you don't know? Well, it's a claim imposed on property by a taxing authority, such as your local, county, state, or federal government to secure payment of delinquent taxes. Guys, if you don't pay your property taxes, the county will take it back. They will take your property back after a certain amount of time. When liens are imposed, the government seizes control of the property until the taxes are paid. Question, what happens to these properties? Well, those properties are going to be sold off to an investor. The lien is going to be sold off to an investor, and they'll get a high rate of return on their money of about 18%. Tax lien is basically a lien against the property that earns interest at a relatively high annual interest rate. State of Florida, it's 18%. State of Georgia, 20%. State of Texas, 25% for the first 6 months, jumps to 50% at 6 months and a day. The tax lien certificates are sold at an auction in the county in which the unpaid taxes are owed for the calculated tax value. Simply states that if a person owes $5,000 in taxes, whatever fees are added onto that, and will be sold off at an auction at the starting bid of maybe $5,500. Determining taxes. Every parcel of property is assessed. Property tax is determined according to the property's taxable assessment. And assessment is normally, and depends where you're at, but normally 70% of the appraised value and the tax rates of the taxing jurisdiction where the property is located. Determining this. And these are things that you really don't have to worry about, especially I teach you exactly what to hone in on if you decide that you want to come in and go after these tax deed properties and what's called excess proceeds. The tax assessment is determined by the assessor using a fair market value on sales of comparable properties and the assessment percentage and the mill rate. Well, I have my real estate license, but I've never been interested in figuring this out. But basically, you're going to find out what the property's a fair market value is. And after that, you buy, and that's determined by the recent sales. Fair market value times 70% is your tax assessment, and the tax assessment times the mill rate, 0.001, is actually the annual property taxes. Here's another example. Property's fair market value is $300,000 in a county where the mill rate is 27.5. You're going to do the assessed value of 70%, which brings the assessment of $210,000, and now you're going to take that 27.5 and divide it by 1,000, and you come up with $5,775 for your annual taxes. Property liens. You have different types of liens that could be on that property. Mechanics liens, most common. If a contractor provides repairs, you're going to have new and construction, upgrade, or any such service, and they don't collect their full payment, that contractor can file a lien, and they can attach it to that property, and that will be a high priority lien. You got your mortgage liens, which are another high priority lien. The financeable liability put against a property by a bank or lender for borrowed funds owed secured by the property. You could be a private lender. You could just be someone who gives someone a loan for a property, rehab, fix up, whatever the case may be. You give them a mortgage, attach it to their property, and now you have a mortgage lien. IRS liens, that's when the owner of a property does not pay his income taxes, federal taxes. And guys, I recommend that you don't do that. May impose a lien against the individual's property until the taxes plus interest are paid. When the owner of the property does not pay his income taxes, the federal government may impose a lien against the individual's property until the taxes plus the interest are paid. Now, it just really shows you quickly the priority of liens. And the property taxes will always get paid first. That's the senior lien position. Without the property taxes being paid, no one else gets paid. Teachers don't get paid, firemen, policemen, so they're always going to make sure of that. So basically, the priority dictates the following to be paid in order. Property taxes of $2,900, it goes above the first mortgage of $10,000 in arrears and $350,000. Typically, they're going to go by date, but property taxes will always supersede all of those. Then your second mortgage, which would have been recorded secondly, and then if there's any judgments or IRS liens or things like that. But I can tell you that when you're going to the tax deed sales, they're going to make sure that those IRS liens and those other places get paid off with the money from the excess proceeds. Tax lien certificate. A lot of people get certificates confused with tax deeds. A tax certificate is not ownership. It's proof of purchase, but it does not guarantee the immediate ownership or that you have a right to sell the property yet. You must wait for a period of time determined by your state called a redemption period. State of Florida, the redemption period is 22 months. To give the property owner time to pay his or her tax obligation, the redemption period varies from state to state. So that's something you would have to check with. We have a 50-state map that lets you know the redemption periods and the interest rates that every single state pays in the U.S. of A. Well, how do you find these tax liens? Well, great question. There's a list of all the real estate properties with delinquent taxes. It's typically advertised at a specified time determined by that local agency. The advertising includes a short legal description, and you can look it up on the taxing authority's website and convert it to a full legal description. Here's an example. Western U.S. Lands uses the rectangular survey system, and this is basically what the legal description of that property is. Guys, I'm not going to put a whole lot of time into this because the way that we teach you basically eliminates this step right here. Basically, once again, when you're finding these liens, you got to look up the property address, the legal description, the parcel number, in order to be able to find out where that property is. That's if you're doing the traditional side of it. If you want to buy them to get those high returns, basically you just got to obtain that list, do a site visit and research online, create choices, research many properties in the area where you're interested in, just so you can know what they're selling for. You always want to know what properties are selling for, whether it's land, has a house. It really doesn't make a difference because you want to make sure that you are in the ballgame. You want to become familiar with your local county tax assessor's office and personnel. I used to go in there and bring coffee to a young lady named Kathy every single day, and she would tell me everything that I needed to know about that tax deed side because she was a veteran of 25 years and I wasn't. So, if the cost of coffee would help me get to where I wanted to go, hey, by all means. All right. The advantages of buying the liens, they're low risk and you got good chances of a high return. One of the ways that you wouldn't get a high return is if you bought a strip of land next to a piece of land that you thought was the real property, and maybe it's, 4 feet long by 8 feet, I'm sorry, 4 feet wide by 8 feet long. You really can't do nothing with that, but maybe walk the dog up and down it every day. So that's one of the ways. So that's why it's imperative to go out and make sure you know what's going on with the property. And don't just look at the property assessors or appraisers site which shows a house, because experience has shown me when I thought that there were houses there, I actually went out there and they were knocked down. But the property appraiser site wasn't updated for like every 2 years, so they wouldn't know that. There's little cash outlay. There's the potential to own the property if it's not redeemed, and little competition, and it works in any market. It's not dependent on any outside forces, so you don't need to have bank loans or anything like that. That's what I love about this. Some of the disadvantages could be the redemption period. Once again, California is a 5-year wait, so you just know that your money could be tied up for 5 years if that person's not going to pay their property taxes. And you just want to check with each state before you do that. And I can let you know some of the shorter states also if you shoot me an email. You always want to have an exit strategy. That's in anything. And your goal is to make money and is to invest for the future. Okay, here's some activities that you actually go through for pre-auction. You're going to select the county or investment area, register as a bidder, find out when the next auction is, make sure you have the time right, the date, everything, because you should be there on time. If not, you'll get outbidded or they'll sell them off quickly. And you'll want to get put on that county's mailing list, so whenever they have something coming out, they'll send it to you regarding the sale. And you want to get the published property list also that they have. Get all the addresses for the properties on the tax lien sale list, and pretty much take it from there. You want to also determine the property's value. You want to maximize interest or obtain real property. Check for IRS and state tax liens. Check zoning. If this is something that you may end up being stuck with. Acquire and check the plat maps. Make a tour plan of all your properties. Take notes and pictures, lots and lots of pictures on your site visits. And then you just want to make sure you have all that information together there. Some bidding strategies. Let's talk about, you got to bring real money, guys. No credit cards, no regular checks. You got to register in advance for these. We recommend that you sit up front so that whoever is holding the auction can basically know you, see you. You want people to know you. You want to bring some friends and bid on the properties as a group. That's something that's always available, and you can bid consistently. Save a little money for your end, though. You never know what bargain may pop up. Don't just go buy the first one or two things that you see. They got different bidding methods. There's a premium bidding method, percentage bid down, and rotational bidding. And it's just like they sound. It just rotate around from persons, giving you a chance to actually make the highest bid. Or it could start with a 18% bid, like in Florida, and it could go down, and the county wants to sell it to the person who will take the least amount of interest. Why would a person do that? Because they still have the opportunity to get a property later on. You can also buy them over the liens over the county over the counter, sorry. You can access a book of tax lien certificates that did not sell at the auction. That's pretty much called over the counter tax liens. You can purchase those without competition and get the full percentage on your money. You can purchase them by mail, or basically this works all over, even in rural areas. You can buy tax liens from the current tax lien certificate holders. Maybe something's happening, that guy wants to cash out, and you can buy them at a discount. Guys, never pay retail. Most state permits liens to be sold on a secondary market, so you could always flip liens also. So people can guarantee they'll get a high rate of return on their money. Excuse me one sec, just want to take a drink of water here. All right. You can ask the tax lien certificate owner, not the property owner, if they're interested in selling their lien. By law, you're not supposed to bother the property owner. They're not obligated to you. They don't have to answer your questions. You don't own their property. You own an interest in that property. All right. Or the investors who are not interested in the property, only the interest. All right. Tax lien certificate, you're not interested in the property. They're interested in the interest rate. Okay. You can buy tax liens that have run out of their redemption periods. Look through the county's list of over-the-counter tax lien certificates so you could actually get in a position where you don't have to wait. Purchase them and file for foreclosure immediately. It's the easiest way to obtain property for pennies. The tax lien investor has the right to collect a high interest rate, generating high income, be considered as a high priority tax lien holder. Remember, as I showed you in the example before, the tax lien takes the senior lien position even above the mortgage. Bring the property to foreclosure after the redemption period expires. Now we're going to switch up a little bit, get into tax deed investments, which is my personal favorite, the tax deed investments. Let's go. Basically, a couple of different kind of deeds. That you have a treasurer's deeds is a document that passes ownership from one person to another free and clear. An absolute deed also transfers unrestricted title. And then you have your tax deed investments are actual properties, not liens against properties the county sells for the amount of the delinquent taxes owed. Advantages of buying tax deeds. Well, you have the ability to purchase them at huge discounts, immediate property rights, the right of possession, the right to use the property, having equity rights, easily resold, and nearly all liens are wiped out. And when they say nearly, I just want you to keep in mind that those government liens, IRS liens, won't be wiped out. But as a new owner, you could always call and negotiate those down to as little as 10%, depending on how good your skills are. Some disadvantages. Don't let someone tell you that there's only good. There's always good and bad and everything. We just have to make an educated decision to make sure that it's worth our time. So what's hidden? Well, it could be a distressed property, it could be condemnation property, unsafe structure, slated for demolition. That's why you're going to, as part of your due diligence, you're going to check with the county to make sure that, it's not scheduled to be demolished or anything like that. Immediate cash is needed. So, this is not something where you get it under contract and then go try to shop it for 30 days. Pre-registration and non-refundable security deposit for online auction sales. Basically, if you don't do what you say, you're screwed. You're going to lose your money and you'll be blackballed. You won't be able to register again in your name at that particular auction. You have redemption periods and the time it takes to obtain property ownership. Right here in Florida, we can get the deed the same day. That's why I love it here. Major disadvantage of tax deeds, the absence of insurable title. Guys, got to understand what this is. Insurable title means you're going to get a quiet title. It's not insured. The bank's not going to insure it until you get it cured, which means to get rid of all of the people who may have a claim in that property. How to resolve not having insurable title? Well, have the title company exclude the previous owners from the insurance policy. Offer the owner payment for signing a quick claim deed. If he can get that quick claimed over to you, then you can do this quiet title, which once again will mean that no one else is going to be able to claim interest to that property. Where the title passes from the original owner to new owner by auction, where states just act like a broker. So it's an involuntary passing of property, passing of ownership. The original owner to the state, then to the new owner by auction. So that's how the property passes over. The right of redemption, purchasing with the right of redemption. The right of redemption permits the owner or party of a legal interest in the property to get the property back after the tax sale. Give you an example. State like Texas, which is one of the king of the redeemable redemption states. Basically, the redemption prices may be less than the property's fair market value. The redemption price is calculated using a statutory formula less than the pre-foreclosed debt. Purchasing property after foreclosure is effective if the redemption period extends beyond the foreclosure sale. So maybe that person has 6 months to be able to come back and buy that property, get their property back, but they'll have to pay you the money that you've put in plus the interest or penalty. In the state of Texas, a penalty of 25%. So it doesn't matter how long, if it's the next day, you're still going to make 25% on your money. But typically, if they couldn't pay in all this time, they're not really going to get the money in the next 6 months. Most of these guys have actually put their head in the sand like an ostrich. So you really don't worry about that as much. Different types of deeds. You have warranty deeds, special warranty deeds, quick claim deeds, bargain and sale deeds. The warranty deed gives you the most protection, free and clear property without any defects. Special warranty, free and clear, any defect or will be corrected by the owner. Quick claim deeds, basically your least amount, and the bargain and sale, least amount of protection on those properties, but still will transfer them. Tax deed auctions is a cash business. Online auction bidders are required to pre-register, submit a high non-refundable deposit. If you can, go to the auction, because you need to really go out and research the property. If you're going to come in and work with us, then I'll actually be able to help out and find out what's going on with the property, be able to walk the land, as we say down here. Tax deed auctions, pre-auction activities. You're going to select the county or investment area. You're going to register with that county, become familiar with the bidding process, register how online auctions work, if you will have to participate that way. Line up available cash, get the published property list and select properties you're interested in, get all the addresses for all the properties, get property owner addresses, county letters returned undeliverable. Now, what they're saying is basically you got to do all this stuff yourself. They've tried to reach out to the owners, but the owner has not responded because they obviously don't want to pay the back taxes. So it'll be up on you to do your due diligence, basically. Check for zoning, environmental. Once again, still doing your due diligence. Evaluate the properties, research them for IRS loans. I mean, honestly, I don't care if I could pick up a property for 10 cents on the dollar. I really don't care. If it's that bad, the IRS can take it, or you can renegotiate it. But you want to acquire and check the plat maps, take a tour plan, take notes, pictures, and basically just find out if it's a property that's really interesting that will make you some money one way or another, if you're going to hold it or if you're going to flip it. Bidding strategies, we have premium bidding, which is a high bid, and then you have sealed bids. Premium bidding is obviously the highest bidder wins, and a sealed bid is more of a secretive type of bid, and you find out a little bit later on who the winner is. Pay for your winning bids. Well, you're going to pay by cash, cashier's check, certified bank check, money order. You're going to record your deed typically on that spot or within 48 hours, some places a week. Obtain title insurance if appropriate, and begin marketing the property if that's your exit strategy. If not, you hold on to it for your portfolio or build your own dream home on it if that's what you want. Marketing the property. So where do you find these buyers? Well, basically, you're going to contact the neighbors. One of the things that I would do is I would buy land in between two houses, one to the left, one to the right. Go knock on both people's doors and ask who wants to expand on their land. Pretty good strategy. It's worked for me. You want to get some pocket investors, people that are proven to buy, that you can call on, and they'll basically just, close the deal for you. You want to go to your local REIA, which is your Real Estate Investors Association. Most people call it a REIA. You're going to go on eBay, places like Bid for Assets, Craigslist, LoopNet, newspapers, ad associations, and list it. Or you can list it with a realtor. That's what I've done before and made really, really good profits off of it. Funding your investments. Basically, they have some sources out there like hard money, equity lines of credit, savings account, credit cards. It could be a bird dog for quick and easy money, which is someone who goes and finds properties for an investor. You can assign tax liens that you currently own from previous auctions. You can do partnerships and self-directed IRAs. Before you think you can't do it, consider this. You can invest in almost anything with a truly self-directed IRA, including tax lien and tax deed properties, create tax-free profit and large tax deductions. Two of the big boys out there, one of my favorites is a company called Equity Trust. Their website is www.trustetc.com, ETC, Equity Trust Company, trustetc.com. And you can just go do a Google search, find out any of them that you actually may be interested in. But truly self-directed IRA, you can allow you to invest in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, CDs, in addition to real estate notes, private placements, tax lien certificates. Guys, this is not the IRA through Merrill Lynch or Charles Schwab or through your job. This is a separate place that most people have no idea about. This is really something for sophisticated and savvy investors. There's about 8 of these custodians nationwide that provide these self-directed investments. Either traditional IRA or Roth IRA may be converted for self-directed, and I would recommend always getting a self-directed IRA if possible. Now, how do you fund them? Well, the usual tremendous IRA benefits. You get tax-free profits, tax deductions, asset protection, and estate planning. Plus, you may invest tax-free in investments that you know and understand with compounding interest. Now, you're not waiting on the stock market. Stock market crashes has nothing to do with you. You're in full control of your money. So it behooves you to master real estate investing, master tax liens, tax deeds, so that you can maximize returns on your money for your family. Allowable investments for self-directed IRA. You can buy real estate, residential real estate, apartments, single-family homes, duplexes, commercial real estate, undeveloped or raw land, real estate notes, mortgages and deeds of trusts, promissory notes, private limited partnerships, limited liability companies and corporations, tax lien certificates. This is something totally different. Like I told you, there are different levels, folks. This allows you to do things at a higher level, come across as a savvy, sophisticated real estate investor. Allowable investments continued. Foreign currencies, oil and gas investments, publicly traded stocks, bonds, mutual funds, private stock auctions, private placements, judgments, structured settlements, gold bullion, car paper, accounts receivable, and account leasing. All of these can be purchased with your self-directed IRA. All profits come back tax-free if it's a Roth IRA. Prohibited transactions. Prohibited transaction is any improper use of your traditional IRA account or annuity by you, your beneficiary, or disqualified persons. Guys, they don't want you basically doing business with anybody in your family, mother-in-law, stuff like that. Keep it far away. Keep it third party, arm's length transactions, and you'll never have to worry about any of these things. How do you fund it? Well, IRS prohibited traditional IRA transactions. You yourself can't borrow from it. You can actually loan money out to other people, set up a note, get back a high return on your money. Set up a mortgage, same thing, get back a high return on your money. Selling property to it. You can sell property to it. You can't sell property to it. You yourself can't be in your name. This is a separate entity, and you can't sell it because it's still you benefiting you. So, using it for a loan as security, buying property for personal use with an IRA, that is prohibited transactions. You get more information by going to Equity Trust Company and asking them, and they'll break it down for you. Other types of quick funding, they have health savings account, basic simplified employee pension, Coverdell education account. This is great for the kids. The Coverdell, I had one set up. You can flip your real estate deals and the profits can go to buying school uniforms, books, or things like that. Definitely check that out. Equity Trust Company, since 1974, they've been helping you create tax-free wealth while securing our financial future. And Equity Trust suggests that you use your IRA to build your wealth and financial freedom. They've been in a place called Elyria, Ohio, since 1974 with the same phone number, I'm told. How do you open up one? Well, you open it up, you fund it, contribute to the account, and you can roll over or transfer funds from your custodian. Once again, Equity Trust can give you more information on that. You can buy tax liens, tax deeds, tax lien service and agents. Certain counties will not allow multiple investors under the same tax ID. The company can also give you a separate tax ID number for your individual account. You want to find an auction to attend. You want to complete and submit the tax lien direction of investment form. This is all through the self-directed IRA, and they will help you out with that again. Basically, a quick overview of using the IRA to auction. Shows you your Equity Trust IRA. It's, expenses such as subsequent taxes and recording fees are paid by the IRA, and then it generates income from your tax liens is deposited into the IRA. Nothing's in your name. It's in the IRA's name. All right, advanced investing, bypassing the auction. Guys, this is the part. This is where the rubber hits the road right here. Basically, I don't go to the auction since I found out about being able to get the deed in advance or either work in the back end of it for the excess proceeds. Now, there are a couple of companies that you can get lists from, CoreLogic.com and PropertyList.com. Excuse me, take a drink. And basically, you can get delinquent tax rolls and assessment rolls, tax deed and tax lien auction lists. I can actually sell you lists if you don't want to go through all that, but they are free on everyone's website. But when you get to the point where it's your time versus money, sometimes I'd rather just pay for things and have it done quicker, and maybe you're like that too. When you bypass the auction, basically we're going to get that list and filter it by the city, the annual base tax, the total of property taxes owed, and if there are any outstanding property taxes, if there are tax lien issues. We're going to determine the value of the property from the tax roll if the taxes are owed, if the tax lien have issues, how much property taxes owed. That's how we're basically going to determine the properties that we're looking to go after. We're going to send out letters to the owner. It's going to be a short letter. It's going to be a delinquent for non-payment letter. And we're going to basically just say that we notice that their property is tax delinquent. It's going to be lost in an auction, and just make sure that they're cool with it. We're going to send that very simple letter, and we're going to ask to buy that property. And we're going to basically get a 5 to 15% response rate. The reason that's so high, in the regular industry for direct mail lets you get about a 2 to 3% return, especially for mortgage foreclosures. These owners, they're going to call you if they're around because they're about to lose their property on such and such date. And as the closer you get to the date, the more calls you'll see that you get. And basically, they are qualified sellers, and they'll give you the property information. So you're not pulling teeth or anything like that. These guys are more than willing to get something instead of walking away with nothing. You're going to talk to these sellers. Some of the questions you're going to ask them: what's your first and last name? What's the address of the property? What city and state and county is the property located? You're going to know this information because you've already sent out the letters, but you still want to ask these questions. What are your phone numbers and emails? You want to make sure you get all this information just in case you lose contact with them before the actual sale. Do you know other properties? Do you know other, excuse me, do you own other properties you like to liquidate? That's a key, powerful question that will allow you to open up to tremendous amounts of deals. And maybe they're not thinking about all of the properties that they own, and maybe they do want to sell them, but they're only really focused on this one right here because it's the imminent one that's going to be lost. How large is your property, and how long have you owned the property? How did you buy the property? Is the property owned free and clear? Is there road access? This is land, remember, guys. Is there power to the property? The more things they say yes to, the more valuable that piece of property is going to be. Have any improvements been made on the property? What you're asking for land is, have they built anything up there? Is there a house there? Is there a shed there? How much do you want for the property? Now, they're going to tell you their wish price, but their wish price means absolutely nothing to an investor. We're looking for a liquidation price, and that price will be liquidated the closer it comes to having that property lost at that tax deed sale because the county is going to give them nothing. You're going to do a quick property check online. You go to google.com. You're going to buy discount properties wholesale. You're going to sell them wholesale or retail for quick cash, or you're going to build your portfolio. Isn't this easy? It's a whole lot easier. And when you have the system behind you that's backing it, and the private Facebook group that's backing it, that you can ask unlimited questions and see video tutorials, and having somebody that knows the game behind you makes it really, really easy. Now you can go get your Staples button and go over a couple of rules of thumb. All right, we're going to concentrate on land, not homes. I want you to do your homework, and I want you to find your properties online. Never be the first to name a price in a negotiation. The first person always loses. You may say 20,000, and that person was expecting 10,000. Now you just help them get an extra $10,000. Remember, the person that speaks first loses when it comes to negotiation. Never be afraid to bottom fish for deals. Always make lowball offers. Work with realtors when necessary. Use call centers and answering services. Answering service, a good one that I used to use is called Pat Live, PATLIVE. They have live operators that I answer those calls 24/7, pre-screen people, and take those questions, name, address, what it's worth. They take those questions for you. The closing process begins after the buyer and seller enter into a sales contract. Now, once you get this contract, you're going to choose, you can do a couple of things. You can hire a title or escrow company or an attorney, depending on where you are, to do the research for you. You want to do the research yourself, common for low-end properties, or you want to outsource it to a title abstractor and process the claim report yourself. I might basically just give it to the title company. I'm not trying to do extra work. I got other things going on. The highest and best use of my time is talking to sellers. When you elect to have a title company do the research, the title company, they're going to get a title order, title commitment. They're going to search for these and whatever it look. They're just basically looking for issues on title. They're going to have a payoff statement and real estate tax information prepared for you, and you receive a title commitment. You want to make sure that that property is able to resell quickly for you. You're going to do closing settlements and the money to the seller once the deed is recorded. So you want to make sure that that deed is recorded the proper way. When you elect to do the research yourself, you're going to search those names, a search associated with the property and the county's grantor grantee index, according to the parcel number, legal descriptions, and you're just going to search for property owners using databases like LexisNexis, TLO. You're just going to search nationwide for outstanding IRS liens against the property. Most of them won't have it, especially when you're talking about land. But title insurance provides title search, escrow process where they'll handle the funds, documents, and hidden risks. So that title insurance is approximately 10% of the value of the property if you're going to do that. I typically don't put title insurance on land. Facts about the title insurance: the banks will not lend money to purchase property if there's no title insurance. What you're doing is building your portfolio quickly, I believe. So you want to just start out quick claiming these, wholesaling them, assigning them over to other people that do want them for some fast cash. A lender's policy protects the lender if the buyer defaults. Owner policy protects the buyer from hidden risk. If the buyer requests title insurance, give them your self-insurance guarantee. Suggest they purchase it themselves and offer to split the cost with the buyer. Redemptive deeds. States best suited for this investing technique are Texas, Georgia, and Tennessee due to their short redemption periods. You're going to buy the property at an auction. You can live in it. When the owner redeems it, they actually pay the penalty to you. And the penalty fees are not prorated. So, whatever that rate is, if it's 25% in Texas and 20% in Georgia. I'm not sure off the top of my head what Tennessee's is right now, but definitely that's a penalty and not an interest. Excess proceeds technique. Guys, this is the heart of what it is that we're going to be doing. Excess proceeds is the money above and beyond the property taxes that were collected. Just to give it a quick example, property's worth $100,000, has $10,000 worth of taxes. Property's bid up to $50,000. Let's say property's bid to $70,000. There was only $10,000 in taxes. Well, there's $60,000 left over. That money goes to the last owner of record, and that's where you come in with this. This only works in tax deed states, guys. You have tax deed states, but you also have tax lien states. Also, this works in tax deed states. So what you're going to do is you're going to offer the current owner a modest amount of money. You're going to record the deed so that you are the owner. Or if you can't be the owner straight up, be a co-owner. Let it go to the tax sale auction. The owner is permitted to claim all money paid for the property tax deed sale in excess of the accumulated property taxes, fees, and penalties, plus interest up to the auction date. The county only gets what is owed to them. You get everything else. And that's dependent that there's no mortgages or anything else that may have been outstanding, the people cutting the grass, maybe the county's charged you, but less those expenses, everything else is yours. Excess proceeds, the letter. Well, basically, what I do is I contact owners directly and offer to buy the properties that they don't want. They are willing to walk away from them for $0. How do we know that? Because they haven't paid the property taxes and no one else knows about. That means there's literally no competition except for the people that I've trained, and some other trainers are doing it now as well. But I have some techniques and tricks that a lot of people don't know. And everyone else waits years and goes to the county to post the tax deed sales. I don't do that. We're going to get it in the beginning. We're going to get it on the front end, and if possible, get it on the back end also. People choose to keep their property, keeping or selling it. Like, this is why they're going to keep their property, because they intend to let it appreciate over time. This is why they want to keep it. They are dependent on the location and how fast it will appreciate. See, a lot of times people will buy at a ridiculous price that doesn't make sense when they buy, and anticipate and speculate that the property will go up. But if it's something like 2008, 2007, well, those properties are going to drop. So, you make your money when you buy on a property. And it all depends on the economy. This is for newbies, and it depends on the opportunities to develop it. Trusts. A land trust is similar to the average trust with two exceptions. The only asset in the land trust is real estate. The name of the beneficiary is not disclosed. A living trust is created by deed when a living person puts property into a trust for the future benefit of someone, maybe himself, maybe a family member, or whatever the case may be. So we buy in land trust, totally different than a living trust. Most people are worried about selling their property. Three ways to sell your property, guys. You can use a realtor, which is absolutely the worst way because you're giving away 6% of your money. You've already bought it below market value. Why would you want to do that? Retail on your own, it gives you the biggest possible paycheck, but it may take a little bit more time. That's okay, because if you're in the position to make 30, 40, 50, 60, $100,000, which I've done several times, well, if I have to wait 3 months or 4 months to sell it, who cares? Because I wasn't making that much money at a job anyway. But you can do it cash, wholesale. That's the number one way to sell, and it's the fastest. So if you need the money right now and you're looking to build up, you want to wholesale these to different people: eBay, Bid for Assets, LoopNet, other land sites, landandfarm.com. Plenty of places out there, and we go into that in depth once you decide to come in and work with us. No risk, guys. If you buy at 5 to 25% of market value, you're always going to make money regardless of the market. You make money even if the market drops 50% because you made your money when you bought. And that's what I am, an excellent negotiator. And you're going to be an excellent negotiator also, and know how to get these properties at 5 cents to 25 cents on the dollar. That's below the market value. You can't lose, guys. You got to do this. It's your time. This is for you. Here's an example of making your land cash flow. As a hobby, you do 2 deals a month, $2,000 down, plus $150 a month terms on a land contract nets you $300 a month passive business income. That means you're selling the property off on owner financing to someone else. They're giving you a deposit and you're making money, $150 a month. That's at doing 2 deals a month would equal 24 deals a year. So at 24 deals a year with $150 a month, you've gotten $3,600 a month passive income, which is going to continue to come to you. And that's what it's about. Passive income is what allows you to walk away from a job. Passive income is separate, total opposite of earned income from a job. What can $3,600 a month in passive income do for you? That's somebody's mortgage payment that now you can keep. If you are keeping your job, you can have the payments come from this, and now you've created extra money to go invest in something else. Guys, this is what it's all about. Learn to win the money game. Don't play the money game to lose. Don't play the money game without directions or a playbook. Play the money game to win. CecilJonesMentoring.com. Come on in. Let me show you how to do some things. You want to maximize your sales, guys. You want to sell high value properties. You only pay 10 to 20% of value for a cash profit. That's what this is all about. Selling these low purchased properties for cash profits. Take the initial investment from your profit and purchase high value properties. Take what remains and purchase several low value properties on terms. Terms is the owner financing, guys. That's where you make your fortune, on terms. Flipping tax lien certificates, you can sell those certificates to another investor. You could sell certificates that you're only earning 18 to 25%. They guarantee the investor a double-digit return profit. You make a return on your investment. Basically, this is one of my star students who did her first deal. She purchased a tax deed property for $22,000. It was worth $74,000. She received a $10,000 deposit. The buyer refinanced and closed 45 days later. She sold for a quick cash sale of $36,000 over a Thanksgiving weekend. Her profit was $14,000 on deal number one. Great quotes. It's easier to sell something they really want than to try to sell them something they really need. To do to get what you've never had, you have to do what you've never done. Saw that out in Vegas for the very first time, and it just changed my perspective on how I was doing things. Being lazy, not committing to things, not investing in my education. If you want it, guys, you got to do something different. All the knowledge, the information, all the money is there. It's just, are you ready to make the investment? Are you ready to sacrifice? Because if you are, I'm ready to help take you to the next level because I'm the best damn mentor on the planet. Period. And guys, that's basically the end of this right here. If you